Yo, what is going on, everyone in the XRP community? Hope you guys are having yourselves a fantastic day today as usual. I got some really interesting information that I do want to bring to the table today regarding a big payroll giant known as ADP ends up filing a DLT patent last year, including Ripple, and we got a lot of other interesting information alongside that. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Not delay it any further. First off, do want to give credit to Michael McDaniel for finding the information, and then for Tom T for posting this to Twitter. So let's go ahead and get right into this patent. So again, this is the company ADT. It is a United States patent application. Publication initially filed on May 6, 2017, but actually says the publication date is actually November 8th, 2018, so it was quite some time ago. But again, this is not some information that I have seen yet while having my stay in the XRP community. So let's go ahead, let's scroll down here. We can see that they're essentially just painting the idea of a blockchain, of a distributed ledger system. It all starts with the node, shared ledger, all these sorts of things. They give all these, vague, really vague description of a essentially DLT based technology. That's what the kind of image they're trying to portray here. But again, keep in mind, they're keeping it very, very vague, not much real information there. And again, tech companies do this all the time. When filing patents, they keep it super, super vague. So if anything does actually end up coming to court or law or anything like that, they have a reference to like, hey, this is what we said, and they can kind of move that in their own favor, by keeping the patent really vague. So that's kind of the reason why they do that. Same thing with the Bank of America Ripple patent. Saw the same exact thing. They try to stay as vague as possible. Now we go down into here, and it says how many copies of the ledger, traditional ledger, example, personal bank account, who could use these copies, the owner group, bank chain, a clearing and settlement network. So it would essentially be ADP that would have access to these copies. And then it comes down to who maintains integrity of the ledger, and it gives two options. And it seems like what they're clearly trying to say here is that this is one way you can maintain integrity of the ledger, and here is another one. So they give two options as if they are suggesting they are going to be choosing one of the two in this patent. So it says who maintains integrity of the ledger. First one, trusted ledger owners and actors by validation, permission public shared ledger, i.e. a distributed ledger. And then example given, Ripple, a global financial transaction system. Now, they're not exactly saying like, hey, we're going to freaking use Ripple tomorrow, like right now, or anything like that. But they are, giving the credit where the credit is due on a very, very efficient, trusted ledger ran by validators and, trusted entities that are actually on the network. So they are citing it as an example. But again, very, very interesting to say the least that they're actually including this within their patent, because they're saying, what I'm getting from this is that they're giving two options. So they're saying either Ripple, a global financial transaction system. I really love the way they put that, a global financial transaction system. Sounds like ADP knows a lot about Ripple compared to the other DLT platforms they mentioned in this patent. And the other option is any user by untrusted consensus, unpermissioned, public shared ledger. Example given, Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency. And I like how they put Ripple in a separate category as Bitcoin or just another cryptocurrency. They're treating it very, very respectfully as a global financial transaction system. So one thing I saw on Twitter was people saying that, hey, ADP gonna use Ripple, gonna use XRP, all that good stuff, yada yada. But we really don't know for sure. But I do just want to show you guys that, hey, they are mentioning it and acknowledging it as a global financial transaction system. So one of the things this can indicate is that maybe not in this very patent are they going to be leveraging Ripple, but it proves to us that they have the knowledge of it, and they have the knowledge of its benefits and inefficiency, and thus they can actually potentially take a road to that path of using Ripple down in the future, which potentially I see a big benefit in integrating these payroll systems with Ripple, because there's actually a real specific reason why we only get paid bi-weekly or bi-monthly, and that is because of the inefficiency of the payment system. They can't pay everyone for every second, every hour, as they go. That's how we would like it to be, but they can't do it that way, so they have to kind of batch it in payments 2 times a month. That's the reason why that happens, is because of that inefficiency. So I do see a huge evolutionary benefit to this, because imagine taking that hour overtime during work, and then as soon as you clock out of your shift, you get that money in your bank account settled instantly. That is something I could really see ADP potentially taking advantage of, and they could be labeled one of the most innovative payroll companies out there. So that was just the first mentioning of Ripple and how they are giving the examples of trusted ledger or any user untrusted by consensus. And again, clearly Ripple, a global financial transaction system, amazing that that's actually in there, and then Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency. Now, Ripple is mentioned here a second time, and this is the same thing, but they go a little bit more in depth about what they mean by trusted ledger and what a trusted ledger actually is. And they say, if only trusted ledger owners or actors can maintain the integrity of the ledger, usually by some kind of validation process, then a permissioned public shared ledger is being used. This type of ledger is a distributed ledger. Examples of this type of ledger are Ripple or again, global financial transaction system. I love how they paint that, because I imagine, ADP is a US based company, but I wouldn't have doubts that, of the almost 17,000 companies that use their software, I imagine a lot of those are going to be in some international locations. Because, for example, Uber is here in the US, and if Uber is using ADP and they have a client, let's say in the UK, that is driving around for them, Uber, they want to pay out in dollars, but again, their employee essentially needs to receive the pounds. So that's where you can see the perfect fit for using a special digital asset called XRP. Now, however, in this patent, I do think it's very, very clear they're referring to Ripple as in, like Xcurrent, just the messaging software. I don't exactly think they're considering this yet for settlement. However, they are being very vague with descriptions in their patents. So again, we really don't know where their aim is at, but just the fact that Ripple is mentioned in here 3 separate times. Now, it's mentioned more in the sense of oh geez, guys, I cannot talk. It is mentioned more so as just an example. I don't know why that was so hard to say. They're just painting it as an example. They don't really give off any clear intent that they do want to leverage Ripple. But I do think that is very compelling how it just this very, very first infograph here on page 5, how it's mentioned right away, trusted ledger owners or actors by validation. So it seems that this, essentially what they're trying to create here is an employee identification system, and they use encrypted keys and sharing encrypted data and unlocking it with public keys and things like that. What they want to do is kind of digitalize payroll essentially by validating employees through the distributed ledger. That's essentially what they're going at here. So not exactly a perfect fit for Ripple right now, but the fact that this is in here as an example does give them some ideas later down the road. Interesting stuff, guys. Payroll giant ADP mentioning Ripple in their patents yet again. Man, lately it seems just like a lot of patents have been coming out with Ripple mentionings. Really, really cool stuff. Again, does not guarantee they're going to use it or anything, but the fact that they do acknowledge it as a global financial transaction system, it seems like they are very well aware of it and its efficiencies. And that's what we want all the companies and all the banks in the world to realize, is that yes, Ripple is a fantastic global financial transaction system. Also, really quick, ADP, they are worth about $37 billion in assets, and from a SEC archive document here, we can see that in ADP's fiscal year, which ended June 30th, 2017, so fiscal 2017, ADP in the United States processed and delivered approximately 61 million employee year-end tax statements. In addition, we moved approximately 1.85 trillion in client funds to taxing and other agencies and our clients' employees and other pays via electronic transfer, direct deposit, and check. So in 1 year, they moved $1.85 trillion worth of paychecks, essentially. You can't tell me that that process would not get much, much faster, much cheaper, and much more efficient by leveraging DLT, and that is clearly why they're coming out with the patent. So guys, this video is about to take a serious right turn. We're going to go on a completely different subject that just popped into my head right now, and that is SBI virtual currencies, or now known as SBI VC Trade. That is sort of the new logo, the new rebranding. That's what they're going after. All cool, completely understandable. Now you guys need to see this latest tweet. I don't want to get too excited over this because they again do state that this might be either extended or shortened. They aren't 100% sure on it. Now let's go ahead and read this rough AI translation from Google. Notice of implementation of system maintenance in preparation for starting new service provision, which is providing order book to the exchange and not just being over the counter between SBI and the consumer, but allowing the consumers to trade with each other through an order book exchange. That's what we want. That's where we're going to get the XRapid liquidity from. So that maintenance is scheduled July 31st, Wednesday from 6 o'clock to 1800. The above schedule is planned but may be extended or shortened. So July 31st, the very last day of July, they are having a system maintenance in preparation for starting a new service, the order books. That's what we're getting right there, guys. SBI Virtual Currencies should be launching either this Tuesday or this Wednesday. And if this does give you guys any more confidence, I did see that Crypto Eddie, even though she was away from Tokyo, she did actually come out and say that, yeah, essentially what we're seeing here is like, yeah, that sounds a lot like SBI Virtual Currencies going live. So it kind of gives me confidence that she is very confident about it, you know, being a actual speaker of Japanese and being able to actually interpret these documents that are written in Japanese that we can't interpret. All we're interpreting is an AI, a rough AI translation. But even she's saying that, yeah, this is... yeah, SBI Virtual Currencies is launching soon. Time to celebrate. So guys, this Tuesday or Wednesday, SBI Virtual Currencies will be launching. Will they take lead in the digital asset exchange space? And they will be the first ever bank-backed XRapid enabled exchange, opening up the XRP to Japanese yen corridor for the 61 banks in Japan that we got on Ripple. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in the video today, on the weekend especially. Make sure to smash a like, subscribe, check the links in the description if you would like to support the channel. And as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.